It's bullet number 2 at the $400 tournament I was playing in Arizona. And we're at the 200-400 level. I start the hand with 25,200, and I'm in the big blind. And it folds all the way to the hijack, a kid who just sat down at the table. This is his second hand. His first hand I opened under the gun, and he 3-bet me, and I folded. And here we are, and he opens to 1,100.
How flat is the brim of his hat?
He looks like a cool young dude.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's good or not, but he's got it's not the superstar look, but like the I might be good look.
And at least aggressive, maybe the aggressive look?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say so.
All right. So he opens to 1,100.
Yep. It folds to the small blind, who's an older guy, probably like late 50s. He makes it 3,700.
Okay. And you read on this guy?
He seems like a relatively straightforward player. Like,
so you think he's got a pretty good hand? He doesn't have like ace wheel suited too often?
No.
No.
I don't think he has anything like that. No, I think he has a real hand here for sure. For sure. Okay. I look down at 2 queens.
Okay.
What do we want to do?
Are you the effective stack between everybody?
I am. They both have a little over 30,000.
And it's button, small blind, big blind?
It's hijack, small blind, big blind.
I think sometimes we're just losing to the old guy, but that's fine. I think we just try to put more money in right now and get it in if we can, and hope he has jacks, and take a flip against ace king, and sometimes he'll have ace queen or ace jack and fold, and that'll be fine too. So I think that's what I like to do. I mean, we can flat if we had more of a read on the young kid that he's just gonna like try to isolate every single time. Then I might consider flatting to induce a 4-bet, but that has to be a very particular player that we've seen evidence is the type of player that will do that. And I don't think we have enough evidence yet, just because he 3-bet you once and open the next hand. Although 3-betting you on the first hand and opening the second hand does seem to
already
correlate with an aggressive player,
Yeah.
but still it's only a sample size of 2. We're not sure.
And we do have this old guy now who's now decided to 3-bet anyway, and so that changes things a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Like even if the first kid is full of shit, the second guy, this guy is not. He may have a hand he's going to fold. I don't know what he has. I mean, I may find out later, but still, like he's got. I believe for sure. Just as he's even looking, thinking, and putting the chips, reaching for a stack, I'm like, oh, he's got a real hand. Before I've looked at my hand, it's clear he's got a real hand most of the time here. Like I don't think he's messing around.
I think we want to ask ourselves how we want this to go when deciding on sizing. We want to know, like, do we want to create a size where he's likely to either jam, or if he calls, it's a pretty easy jam on the flop for us that makes sense? Or do we want to size it such that we can bet pretty small on the flop to try to get more value out of the hand and like jam the turn sometimes? So I think we have to decide on that now, basically.
Okay. So what do you want to do?
Against this player type, the old guy, it feels like he doesn't have a lot of folds. Like, it just feels like once he 3-bets, that player type usually isn't going to fold. They're going to jam some of the time. I kind of want to go small, let him stay in with some of the hands that are the weaker parts of his range. And, I think we still have to call if he jams, but when we go small and he jams, it kind of sucks. He might be price insensitive anyway, so he might be jamming the same range no matter what. So I'm thinking like 8,800, something like that.
Okay.
Because we have position on him.
We do. So I took a different tact. I mean, I 4-bet as well, to be clear. I went bigger than that. I decided, though, similarly, like I was like, I just want to get in against one of these guys. Like, I'm happy to get in against one player. Even the old guy, like, whatever. I mean, he doesn't have to have me beat here, like, by any means at all. Like, it's fine. I'm just going to go with the hand. And I didn't want to make it a size that I might get 1 or 2 calls and then have to. I didn't necessarily know if playing post flop was going to be great for me with a hand like queens, with the ranges being super tight. So I just wanted to, like, I was just trying to get it all in right away, basically, is what I decided.
It seems hard to get called by the initial opener when you 3-bet to any size. Calling seems like a very unlikely act.
I agree. No, that is true. It's usually only going to be one player. It's not going to be multiple players. And we're going to have position against the old guy if he calls. That's fair. That's a really good point. Still, I went bigger, ultimately. I made it 11 instead of 88. So
that was I was thinking like 11.5 if I was going to go with a bigger sizing, so similar.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So I went bigger sizing. maybe you're right, and maybe it's just better to go small there. Maybe there's no real value in going bigger as we're talking about it, because it's okay to play a hand. Like if the old guy calls, he doesn't have aces and he doesn't have kings. We're ahead right now. That's fine, right? And then we get to play post flop, and that's fine. And sometimes, sure, an ace flops and we lose, but like we win a lot too, and we probably win.
Sometimes
more
you lose with queens.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
That
So maybe
happens.
that's fine anyway. But anyway, so I made it 11. Whatever. That's what I did. Too late. But I think I like your decision. I think I like your thought better than mine. Anyway, I make it 11. So the kid in the hijack goes into the tank a little bit, looks at his cards, and I don't want to oversell the amount of tanking he does, but he tanks for a little bit and then moves all in.
Okay.
So, it comes back to the old guy who has 2 dice with him, much like Digital Dan did back in the day.
Is it
Picks up
Digital
the
Dan?
dice. It's not Digital Dan.
You should have buried the lead. It's Digital Dan.
I wish it was. So the old guy thinks for 20, 30 seconds, picks up the dice, rolls them, looks at the number, and then goes all in.
Do you like Deep Stack No Limit Hold'em? Come play with us on Clubs Poker. Use the code POKERGUYS or the link, and we will have a meetup game on February 18th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be there. We'll be playing Deep Stack No Limit Hold'em. Join us. Let's go have some fun.
Back to us. It's 14-2 to call. We put in 11. It's effectively 14-2 to win around, 62,000. We could do the math, but it's somewhere around there.
I think the most likely thing with the dice is that the guy has aces. I feel like that's a thing he brings to the tournament for when he has aces. That's most players aren't Digital Dan, who are former actuaries who care deeply about combinatorics and are going to try to make the perfect mathematical decision based on some subjective weighted values that they've created in their head before with the dice. Most people aren't really doing that, even if they brought dice. So my concern is that he is heavily weighted towards aces. That's what it feels like to me.
Interesting.
Then we also have to beat the kid, right?
Yep.
Which I think is likely, but not necessarily a guarantee. So yeah, I think I want to fold. I think the old guy has aces. That's what I'm going with.
Okay. I will say, being at the table, it didn't feel like he had aces when he rolled the dice. And looked at the dice
Well,
and
I am missing that. I am missing that element of it.
There was a vibe that did not feel like that. It felt like he genuinely rolled the dice, genuinely looked at it, and then genuinely responded to it.
Okay, well, he shouldn't have done that if that were the case. That's very bad.
I mean, the kid was already all in, so
But you weren't.
I know. I'm just saying.
Digital Dan knows enough to know not to do that with action pending.
Anyway, I'm just letting you know, it didn't feel like he was doing did a whole special thing. I didn't know at this point when I saw him roll the dice, I believed it was genuine. I'll say that. And when I saw him move in, I believed it was moving in partially because of whatever number he rolled.
Okay, I think that's a huge mistake if that's what he did, and that's fair. Just to reiterate,
it's a $400 tournament in Arizona. You're not gonna get this super tricky. I'm rolling the dice. I think that.
No, that's way less tricky than the actual I'm the guy who does the dice thing correctly guy.
Come on, dude.
I think it's my Occam's razor in this situation, which is where my read is based, is that there are players who are not necessarily super sophisticated technically, but they have these little gimmicks that they do, and it's more likely to be that than it is anything else. That is
It's a cool gimmick, but someone who actually brings 2 dice to the poker table is almost exclusively doing it so they can roll in those spots. And then to go one level past that, there are just so few people who do that anyway. And to get that, think someone else would know what that meant. I don't know, man. I don't know if that's Occam's razor, but let's move on. Here we are.
I think it is.
What do you want to do with queens here?
Fold.
So I thought for a really long time, so long that the table got annoyed at me. And I was talking out loud. I was like, I'm just dead here, so much. I'm dead here so much. But I was getting a pretty good price. I wasn't getting a good enough price. But if I'm up against aces or kings, it's not good enough, right? But I was getting a pretty good price. And I was like, sometimes they both have ace king. I think, by the way, I was like, the old guy has ace king because he rolled the dice. I think he just has ace king here. That's what I decided.
That would be my, if I thought the dice roll was genuine, that would be my read too, that it was ace king. Yeah,
that's what so I believe it was genuine. So I was putting him on ace king. So that meant I didn't have to worry about him, but I did have to worry about the kid who 5-bet all in, which seemed not great. But ultimately I was like, you know what? It's a $400 tournament. I've already put in 40% of my stack. fuck it. Like I can rebuy. I'm not folding queens here. Like I don't know. So
Fair.
I
That's
put
fair.
the money in. And I will say this: when I turned over my hand, the table like made fun of me for taking so long. They were like,
Really?
"What are you doing?" And this was like one of the guys who made fun of me. It was like a pro at the table. He's like, "Dude." Before the other guys turned over their hands, he's like, "This is a $400 tournament in Arizona. You should call quicker."
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, "Huh, okay, good to know."
I wanted
And,
to fold.
Yeah, the kid had 2 jacks somehow.
Nice. Cool.
And the old guy did have ace king suited. And they ran it out, and queens held, and I tripled up. And it was kind of amazing, actually.
And you won the tournament?
And then I won the hand. It was great to win the hand.
Sweet.
I did well in cash after I busted like an hour later.
Yeah.
So that was good. The thing that was interesting was the kid then said, after the hand was over, I never put you on a hand like queens. After I had 4-bet. And I'm like, what? I didn't say, like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, he moved in with jacks just thinking it was the best hand after the old guy 3-bet and then I 4-bet. And it's like, kid,
Yeah.
unless we both have ace king, you are behind for sure. It isn't tens and ace king almost ever here, kid. Like, what are you talking about? But he like, so then I was like, oh, this kid just doesn't know what's going on.
Maybe.
Or maybe it's a tournament. Maybe it's the $400 tournament in Arizona thing, and everyone's wider than I think.
It's a re-entry period, so people are wider.
Yes.
That's a reason to call as well.
That was, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I called it. I was like, it's $400. I can afford it. It's fine. I'm calling. Like I hate folding. I've put in too much. Whatever. I call. Now, if I had just flatted, I think the kid's gonna effectively move in anyway. He's gonna put in a big bet. The old guy's probably gonna move in, and I probably do find a fold with the queens now that I've only put in 3,700.
Yeah,
And
that's reasonable.
So it ended up working out really well, but only because of luck, not for any other.
So that's a silly spot with the dice, especially. You know, that makes it all
Unbelievable.
very
So
silly.
weird. And then I got the triple up, and then everyone made fun of me for taking 2 minutes to call with queens.
Yeah, screw them.
Yeah,
Let them.
we laughed about
Let them rot in the desert heat. They don't know
We
what
all
they're
laughed
talking
about it. It was fine.
Yeah. Good for you. It's good to have a happy time at the poker table
It was nice.
until you bust, and then you're sad.
Yeah. We go make the money in the cash.
Sick and tired of being tired of being sick. In my head 24/7, how I'm supposed to pay the rent. Mr. Practice, I don't play. Friday nights we on the bench, trying to come up with a play. If it don't work, then hit it lick. So if knocking at my door, praying they ain't tell. I'm studying her word prayer. Baby excel, got away with way too much. Should've got expelled, but the school saw my potential. Smart kid trying to rebel.